All right, so welcome to the Intermission Orchestra's arranging workshop. I believe this is the 6th one that we are having, and today we have special guest Philip, who is joining us from Japan at 10 a.m., which is quite early for, I think, a lot of us who have been sleeping in during the coronavirus. And he's going to be here to talk about his arrangement. He's been an arranger at Intermission for a very long time until he left, I think, at the beginning of this school year. But he's an amazing arranger, and I'm excited that he's here. So I'll let you take the floor, Philip, and I'll just get out of your way.
Okay, so hello everyone. Hey, long time no see. Yes, I'm here. So, hello, I'll be the guest speaker of today as a old arranger. Forgot a lot of stuff, but hopefully I can help you guys with something, hopefully. And feel free to stop me if you don't understand what I'm saying or if you need me to repeat something, so don't worry about that part. And also I uploaded the PDF files for the Nier medley, so if you want to look at that, feel free. And let's see, where should we even start?
And that's in the chat, correct?
Yes, it's in the chat. I put it on the chat. So, wow. Yeah. So let's see. We have, so 3 people, excluding Daniel here to listen to me. So can you guys tell me, so I guess I'll tell you like how I start when I'm doing arranging or transcribing, is that I usually try to map out the chord progressions first. In that regards, I look for chords and yeah, I just map out all the chords, write down all the letter names like A minor, E minor, and those stuff, and then I will kind of add on other instrumentations later. So before I start, can you guys tell me who knows music theory here? Like, well, let's see, who knows chord? I remember Daniel talking about it, but Ali and Caitlin, do you know like how to utilize chords or how to write chords? I know
Not
nothing.
really. Apart from like major and minor, I don't know anything else.
Ah, okay. So I guess we could talk about that. Let's see, Daniel, how far did you go with the chord? How much did you talk about chord?
So as far as chords go, we talked about like how to build these chords and how to identify chords within a key, as well as chord extensions. I gave some audio examples of how they sound,
I see.
and a bit of theory as to how dominant and tonic relationships go about.
Okay. So that's a lot. That's actually like all the things you need to know about chords when you are arranging per se. Wait, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah. Let's see. Where should I start with the chords? So all the songs that you listen to has a key signature, and from that key signature, you can find out what chords are happening. And you know what? Let's start with the very basics. I'll open up Finale and let's see what we can do there. Opening setup wizard. Just a regular old piano is good. Doom, 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 doom. Man. Screen share. Let's see. Share. Can you guys see the finale?
Yes.
Okay, good. You guys hear the sound? Okay, good. So what you're looking at is a C major, and chord, usually chord has 3, well, not usually, but the very basic chord has 3 notes, right? like C, E, and G. And all the music that you listen to will pretty much always have some sort of chord into it. And the very basic you can go is a triad, which is literally when there is a space between each note. So let's see. This is a chord, the C major chord, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, B diminished, and C again. Oh, there's something missing there. What happened? Never mind. And from this, you can usually get the chord progression out. Yeah. Sorry, let me try to, I wonder if I can make it easier. Major scales as well as major intervals, minor and chord. Okay. Sorry. It's been a hot minute since I've talked about music like this. So whenever you get, sorry, maybe I should have, let me go back a little bit. Ali, Caitlin, and I guess like Daniel and Kiki too, when you guys are transcribing, what's your step?
I usually first listen to the bass line, because that's usually what you listen for in finding the chords anyways. Then start with the bass line and then go from there.
Daniel?
I personally like to go melody first and then building chords around the melody. That way I'm not restricted to the harmony that is expressed in the original, and I can go off on my own way when arranging.
And Ali and Caitlin?
I usually do the melody first and then the bass line, and then from there I look at the notes and try to figure out what the chords are, because it's harder for me to hear them than it is to just look at them and try to figure it out that way.
And Caitlin?
I think she's typing right now.
Yes. How do I go back into, oops. Trying to, wait, what happened to my Zoom? Here it is. Chat, here it is. Start with melody and harmony and then bass line and then just guess from there. Oh yeah. I mean, that's usually what I do too. So when you hear a melody, or I mean, when you hear a bass line, that's usually the base of a chord. And you can, a lot of the game music, you can assume that the very lower, the bottom chord, the bottom note will be the basis. So when you see a C, it will, I would say around 75% to 85% will be a C something chord. In this case, because it's in C major key, the tonic, it'll be a C major chord. And if you see an F here, most likely, not always, most likely, it will be an F major chord or F minor or something along that line. But some bass lines, when you are arranging, you'll see a very, how should I say, non-jumping, it's very walking bass line. Something like that. And you'll see, oh, there's a C major chord right there. This, so I see a C. So if you stack 1, 3, and 1, 3, and 5 like that, oh, C major. But now you see a B just natural right there, and you think, oh, that has to be a B chord, right? And then you write B, D, and F, and you hear the song something along the line of, but something doesn't really sound right there, and that's where the chord inversion will happen. Oh God, I'm just going all over the place. Let's see. You learned, Dan, you talked about chord inversions too, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So Ali and Caitlin, tell me, what is chord inversion? And I think someone else came in here too. Kritten?
It's when the chord is like the notes aren't in the same order, but it's still the same notes.
Oh, yes. Very good. Very good way of putting it. So you see a B there, right? So look at this set of, let me do this again. You see a B there, right? At the very bottom note. Which note has a B here? Could you tell me? So the B's right here, right? So which chords has a B? There are three that I can see right now.
The E minor and the G major and that one.
Good. So yes, out of these three, you can utilize pretty much any of it you want. That's a G right there. Has a very different sounds to it, but when you heard Daniel saying, "Oh, he does melody first, so he isn't confined by the harmony," right? That's kind of where the chord really helps, is that you're free to do whatever you want as long as you know what notes that you are using. So you have a B right here. You don't only have to use a B diminished to this one. You can also use G or E minor. You can pretty much use anything you want. And as you get better or more used to chord progression, you'll see 4-note chord progressions too. And you can pretty much use any of these as long as you keep on trying. But sorry, I digress. I didn't mean it to be a chord based learning today. So let me go back to the Nier medley. So on the chat, I uploaded the Nier medley score so you guys can look at it. So you guys can open up and we can talk about the way that I transcribed and orchestrated one part of my arrangement. I'll also screen share this one to make it a little bit easier in case you guys can't see. Don't worry about it, Kritten. Kritten, can you see the PDF or do I have to upload it again? Okay. And I'll screen share. The Nier medley. Can you do a simultaneous screen share with other applications, or is it just one by one?
Yeah, you can do multiple. What you do is you share desktop instead of the actual individual apps, and then it'll show everything on the desktop, but you can do like split screen view or whatever, move your tabs the way you want it to.
I see. Let's see. Can you guys see the desktop right now?
Yeah.
Okay. It's more of me trying to play something so you guys can hear it. Can you guys hear this?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I want you guys to go to page 26 if you have it. It might be easier for you to look at it. And I'll just talk about the orchestration and the transcription that I did for this particular piece in Nier medley. It's The Voice Does Not Return. And Ali, you sang this piece.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll talk about the very basics of orchestrations from now on. I mean, for here at least. And what I kind of did. So chord progression wise, all I can tell you is listen to it and, do it. And then follow your gut feeling. If you want to change chord, that's fine. If you want to listen to melody first, go for it. Bass first, that's fine too. In this particular piece, I would recommend that you listen to the melody first because the bass line is kind of hard to listen here. And as an arranger or as a person kind of like this stuff, don't be afraid to quote unquote cheat, honestly. Your job is not a transcriber, your job is an arranger, okay? And always listening to practice is always good, but when you cannot find something, ask for help or go to YouTube and just find out what you need to find and then go on from there. Don't waste your time trying to find what note or what that one measure is for 3 hours and just get mad at it. Just do it. That's what you need to do. Because arrangers are, like I said, you are arranged for intermission orchestra. You are not trying to transcribe the whole damn piece sometimes. So if you look at it, if you listen to the piece too, it's a very solemn piece. Let's see, Voice of No Return. Return. So along that line, it's a very minimalistic piece in terms of orchestration. But how would you add more instruments to this is usually the question if you're doing ballads or slow pieces. And because you are doing an orchestral arrangement. In that regards, you kind of have to think how you want to pan out the story, right? Do you want it to be this solemn all the way through, or do you want it to build up, or do you have a goal point in mind where you want to make it explode, or do you want this song to be kind of, how should I say, a solemn mourning-like piece? So think about what you want, what kind of sound you want to imagine here. In this regard, what I wanted was a very slow and meticulous build-up to a certain point in this music, which is measure 258 here. But to do that, what can I do as an arranger is what you have to think. What avenue can you take? And what kind of sounds are you willing to bring in until that kind of, not climactic, but that goal point? So in my case, what I've opted to do was bring in one instrument, one by one by one, very kind of subtly. So if you look at the very main melody right here, that part, you'll see it's only piano, cello, and voice only, right? But if you see along this line, I actually added one more line in the middle right here. And that will be the viola. And I didn't start right on the measure, on measure, what was it again? Measure 236. Because I wanted to make this music subtle, right? I didn't want to be just bleh, I'm right here. You want to kind of etch it in. And in that place, dynamic helps a lot. Oh, yeah. Please write your dynamics and please write all the articulations. if you want to make your, what was it again, the practice time shorter, please make sure you write dynamics. That is a very important thing that people are too lazy to do sometimes, so please do that. But if you start right on the measure of, if you just power through all the notes on the first beat, it's a little bit too much. So you kind of want to etch it in, maybe have a pickup note or kind of like this going down, like the stepwise, like 1, 2, 3, or going up, whatever you do, is that you kind of want to etch it in there to create that very mysterious but something's happening vibe. You don't want it to be very sudden in that regards. And as you see, I'm going from bottom to top. So the cello solo starts, and then there's the viola, and then there's the violin 2 and violin 1, and you just slowly add it up in there. And then if you also noticed, if you're looking at the whole piece, the piano is mostly chordal because you want to bring out the main melody here, which is the main vocal. A very beautiful piece, by the way. And as the piece goes, there is the alto sax and tenor sax coming in, and then I'm slowly just building up little by little, maybe taking out some parts again to give it a break. Like here, viola is out because I didn't want to. The viola is out because the vocal just came in right here, and I needed some sort of a leeway for the voice to present itself, and having all the sound always being there will hinder the impact. And it just keeps on going, and you'll see this kind of, sorry, let me go back, upward motions in the violin lines. Let's see, and you see all the tensions going up, and then boom, right here, the whole piece, kind of like the second part starts the goal of it. Why is this not working? Oh God, I hate my computer sometimes. And this is kind of like where I had fun arranging. This part was when I thought about the intermission orchestra, as I kind of like wanted everyone to have a main melody, because sometimes, viola, or maybe it's a clarinet, or maybe some of the lines just doesn't get the melody. And in this part, or in any arrangement, you have the power to change stuff, okay? The melody doesn't always have to be flutes or violin 1. You can always give it to someone else. You can always give it the power to some other instruments that maybe you have prejudice for, to just help them out, because maybe you're nudge nudge, I'm actually a violin 2 player, I want them to play something fun, and give them power. In this part, I actually gave the viola right here the main melody at the very beginning, and I gave the oboe the main melody too. And I guess this is kind of like where the orchestration of blending kind of comes in. Which sounds do you want to start? Which sounds do you want to be blended, and how will it be blended? And this is mostly up for your imaginations. I guess this is a good place to talk about the distinct quality of each instrumentation, and I'm pretty sure Daniel went through all this instrumentation sound and what they did. I mean, what they can do and what kind of sound quality they have. String is a pretty inharmonic instrument in terms that there's a lot of screechy sounds, and how the bow and the string etches onto each other creates a very unique frequency. Warm, but also inharmonic in that regards. But it's probably the most it's a sound that you guys are most familiar with because a lot of orchestras have strings. And I would say the string is the best instrument to blend with other instruments just because of the sheer amount of characteristics that it can provide. It can be extremely harsh if you wanted to. If you like press a bow onto it, like just push it in and then grind it, it'll make a harsh sound, which could be used for articulations or also blending with the brass. Brass has a very unique sound, as you know, because of the property of you buzzing the lips. Through that, it creates a very articulative, very not hard. I don't like the word harsh, but for the lack of a better term, let's call it harsh. And it has a very bright tone, right? In that regards, you can blend. It's kind of hard to blend it with other woodwinds unless you are making it mellow. And here's where the dynamic comes in again. When the trumpet is, or trumpet trombone, French horn is kind of the outlier. It's a weird instrument, but I'll talk about that later. But trumpet, trombone, and tuba, if you put it the dynamic forte or below, it has a very soft and gentle sound, which will blend very well with the woodwinds actually, rather than the strings. But now, but if you go over the forte sound, it will create that very fanfare, very powerful and very piercing sounds that you might want for melody and those stuff. Well, where was I going with this? So in that regards, you want, shoot, what was I talking? I was just geeking out right there. So yeah, if you want a powerful sound, forte, something mellow, oh yeah, blending. So if you want the trumpet to stand out without blending, forte or louder is always good to have. And something if you want smaller, gentler, dynamic smaller is always better. And if you want to talk about, if you want to blend with other instruments, trumpet and trombone is good for blending with, first of all, it's strings. Surprisingly well with bassoons and oboes because of the unique quality of the oboe and bassoon woodwind sound has. But right here, I blended with oboe and viola. Viola has a very kind of, compared to the kind of screeching violins and the kind of low and smooth cello, viola has more of a kind of mellow, kind of, how should I say this, mature sounds compared to the violins. And oboe has also what people usually call like a mature sound to it. So blending those two was my go-to as a beginning, because I wanted to have a very unique quality in there. Not unique, more like a sound that people wouldn't expect the very first thing they would hear when you're listening to a melody. And then the next page, you'll see the melody is actually going downwards. Now the alto sax and tenor sax and violin 2 will have the melody. And this is the part where I just want everyone to have fun, okay? So this is where everyone starts getting the melody, and it will come down, 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 down. And now who has a melody? Oh, here, French horn now has a melody. And other instrument that used to play the melody is now playing the chord. So this is what this is part of orchestration, which is also called terrace dynamic. This is where so if you have less instruments, the dynamic will naturally be smaller, right? And so by adding more instruments, you are adding more dynamic, which means that you're making the whole orchestra louder and louder. So I'm not just using the dynamics, I'm also utilizing how I'm adding the instruments to make the music louder or fuller for that regards. And as you it's more like, as you see, it's just more of me adding melodies to each instrument. And if you noticed, I started from the oboe right here, the melody, right? Not from the flute, on the oboe, and I'm going downwards. So I gave the oboe the melody, and then I gave it to the alto saxophone. Now the French horn has it, and now the brass, the tuba, not tuba, trombone and the trumpet has the main melody. So I'm going downwards. It's kind of like the fun of orchestration. You have all the imagination you can use to make whatever of your unique quality to it. So this is this orchestration going downward. I don't really recommend it if you're not too sure what you're doing. So I would, if you're starting to do like your own arrangement of this very bare music and adding more onto it, usually the best way to do it is starting from the bottom to top. So very simple way of thinking is that you have the string orchestra, cello has a melody, then who will have the melody next? Oh, it'll be viola, and then violin 2 and violin 3, and increase the as you put the pitch up and up, it'll create an easier way to create a dynamic and kind of like a moving, flowing feel to the whole piece. And that the higher it goes, the more tension the music will bring. And higher it goes, it's easier to hear the sound because frequency. Sorry, that was a lot of information. Does anyone want me to repeat something right here? I just went by a lot right now, by the way. Any questions? Let me stop right here. Any questions, any comments, anything that you want to, reiterate or explain more about?
May I ask, how much do you keep in mind the performer when arranging your pieces?
Oh, good question. That is a very good question. Always. Please think about intermission orchestra and their performing level. I would say there's a lot of good people, but there are also a lot of people who's new to arranging. Let me look at the chat. Oh, what is it? Why are you so sad? Okay. So not everyone's, always good at, well, I wouldn't say good at, but some people are not comfortable playing certain ranges or certain techniques, right? So always keep in mind when you're arranging for this. One big thing that a lot of arrangers make mistake is the range of the instruments. How high and how low can the instruments go, right? For trumpet, usually the lowest sound is usually around G3. It can go lower, but I do not recommend it because it'll be a pedal tone from that point onward. Probably having a visual is better for that. G3, and for the intermission orchestra, I would recommend not really going higher than G because from that point, it's the technique from the lips and how well the performance can maintain it. So this here is a cheat way that I do, the cheating way. Let's say you have a melody of something like that, like da 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 da, but only one person can hit that D. Don't be scared of doubling it. Once again, dun, dun, dun. Don't be scared of doubling it. And if you are used to if you are good at harmonizations, something like that, adding harmonies is always a good way to fill up the sound. All right, I forgot about that.
May I also add, I feel like a good rule of thumb is that in their written score, so not in concert pitch, but in their written range, usually if it's on the staff, that's typically a safe spot to be in. If it's on the staff in their written range.
Yes, good point. So try to keep it's going to be hard because a lot of the pieces and melodies will go out of staff because that's just how the music is written usually. But Daniel made a good point. Try to keep in staff if possible. If it's not possible, always look at ask other your friends if they can play it. Technique wise, there's a lot of things you can think about. And yeah, I totally forgot this part. So when you are listening to music, you will hear the melody, and you love the melody so much. You just love it so much. So a lot of what arrangers do is they will double the hell out of the melody. Like they will give, like the melody will have like 4 or 5 instruments all playing together the same thing, and it can be good. It is a way to make the sound piercing. It will be very noticeable, but you have to be careful when you are doubling, because the more instruments that the same line are playing the same thing, the heavier it will sound, and it will be unbalanced. Okay. When you are arranging, this is where the chord and kind of your knowledge of music theory, or not even music theory, the key signature that you are in will help you a lot. For example, this is kind of like the very simple piece, well, not even a piece, kind of the simple thing that I made. So if you just only double the sound, it just sounds kind of heavy in general, right? It sounds pretty, it is doing something, but I wouldn't call it sounds full. It's there. It is pretty, but it's not full. And this is where the kind of like the harmonizations or making your melody more full, enriched comes in, is when you start adding harmonization or just one more note to make the sound a little bit fuller. I don't really know how to utilize this one right here. I'll just go into piano roll. Gonna be easier for me. Let's just listen to that one, just that one. I just added a third. Oh, what happened there? Oh yeah. That's just thirds. So like you see the top note, I added a third below, third below, third below. This one, I actually put a fourth, but let's just say it's third. It's a very simple, extremely simple way of harmonizing, but what happens is that you are adding chordal value to it and more tensions, and by doing that, you will enrich the sound rather than just making it heavier. And I would recommend you kind of practice, kind of like just play it around. You see a melody, oh, what can I put below it? Just don't put major or minor second. That's that's not too pretty. Let's see. Not really pretty, I'd say. So third, sixth, fifth isn't bad either, but that's kind of a taboo in classical world. So think of harmonizing your melody. If you think that the music is sounding empty, right? Because a lot of the arrangements that I've seen for the intermission, they have the melody and they have the chords, and they think, oh, but the music just doesn't sound really fulfilling as like what you heard online. It's because they are adding more to it, but you just don't hear it. That they are adding harmonies to make the sound a lot more richer. And in orchestra, it is a very helpful technique to practice. So if you just have time, like play around with it. For like short pieces, short melodies, it won't really take that long. Just move around some notes, third, sixth, and voila, you'll have a beautiful sounding melody right there. And yeah, going back to the orchestration part, where it's near medley. And I'll go back to the each characteristics or what each instruments are good for. And I wrote a lot of it down because I forget a lot. This is a note that I wrote yesterday because I didn't know what I was going to talk about. So strings, multi-string players are pretty good. They practice for a long time. They know how to make sounds. But what are strings good for, right? Like, what can you do? What can you do with the strings? And I only wrote some minor details, but strings can hold notes indefinitely. They are your friends when you are using a long, once again, long tone chords. So this one sound. String can go on and on and on and on and on. Oopsies, that is not what I wanted. New tracks, software, orchestral, just string sound, whatever that. It will keep on going as long as you let them go. But the reason why string is so good for that regard is that they can control the dynamics very easily. All they have to do is press the string a little bit harder to create, or not harder, I mean, either faster bowing or something along the line to create a dynamic inflections. And let's say you have a whole note, right? Just a whole note like this, a long whole note that is tied, something like that. What I usually like to do in that kind of cases, because just holding it is stale. Stale is bad. When you are doing orchestrations, do not make it stale. You want the music to keep on moving, okay? So this is what they call hairpin in musical not terminology, but kind of like a cheap way of saying dynamic movement. Just this. And it will go dum, dum. That creates movements, and you always want that kind of movements when you are doing a long phrases. Let's say you have like a 4-bar phrase and the string is only playing just that over and over again, right? Then you can just, dynamic wise, do this and do that. Not hard, right? Just simply just putting those two things in there, but it'll make the difference in the world. And that's why, and the strings has it easy in terms that they can keep on playing it and they will not burn their embouchures down. And what strings are also good at is, well, not good at, but they can do not a lot of jumping, but they can do jumping. Okay? But big jumps are still kind of hard because they have to change positions constantly. So be careful when you're doing that. Strings are extremely effective in making different sounds. And I'm pretty sure a lot of other people know. So compared to me, Melissa, or I don't know who does strings that? I forgot. It's been a while. But ask them what they can do. Ask them what kind of sounds they can make to add on to your sound, to your music. For the old music that I did, or I guess even in Nier medley. Going back, horrible computer. I have to go all the way back. There is a song called City Ruins, and there's a very long section where the string literally just plays, not string, I mean the other strings. Oh yeah, the bass just holds onto the note. And here I got lazy and did not write any dynamics. Don't do that, okay? And strings, and I guess you have voices right here. So it's to create, well, voice and strings are very similar in that they can create a lot of different sounds. So ask them what they can do how hard they can, grind the sounds, or how soft they can do it. Ponticello, sol ponticello, or sol tasto is how far. There's a bridge, that wooden thing, and there is the finger tab or fingerboard. The closer you go to fingerboard, the more mellow. The closer you get to the bridge, more harsh. That will create a different kind of tonal quality to it. And like I said, probably the best instrument for blending to other instruments. So keep that in mind. Brass, I usually use it for punctuations, and when there's like let's see, a strong section, or like a section that you just want to kind of bring out. Like, let's go back here. I'll just play a part of Nier medley. Oh, and sorry, Daniel, I'm going a lot longer than I should have. Tell me if I need to stop, okay?
Oh, no problem. I'm just if there's people who want to show off their pieces too, and maybe get ask for some feedback, that'd be cool.
Sounds good.
If people are interested in doing that.
Yeah, please do. Actually, let's ask that question. Who is interested in showing off their piece? Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Ali and Caitlin? And who just came in? I can't see the name. Same ball. Okay. I mean, I wasn't here last time, so I can always look at your pieces and see what I can talk about. So I'll just rush through all the things that I'll talk about. Brass, good articulations. I used it a lot during the beautiful song. Actually, I'll go to the weight of the world here. Probably a very good place to show off not show off, but how trumpets are very noticeable when you're listening to the music. Where is it? Oh, here it is.
May I interject real fast?
Yeah, please go.
Okay, so I understand that there hasn't been a lot of progress, but this is an opportunity to get a different lens from an experienced and established arranger. So, even if you haven't added a whole lot since our last meeting, it might still be productive to show your current progress to Philip, since he is a fresh pair of eyes that can really help out. So, if you do want to find that different opinion, definitely, show off.
Yeah, I mean, I can always tell you some things that you could fix. Like, always having like a different people looking at it is always helpful, because don't be scared of criticism, don't be scared of changing, and don't be scared of getting other people's opinion, because your opinion matters, but also at the same time, other people have different ears and how they hear differently from other people. And it's always important to be open when you're arranging. Like I said, always ask other instruments when you are arranging to see what they're doing and what they can do to be helpful for your arrangement. You don't want your arrangement to sound bad, right? You want your arrangement to sound good. And what's the best way to do it? Ask other people. Ask for their help. Ask what they can do, and gauge their skill level, and make sure that they can play it. If they can't, ask them if they can practice it, or is it practicable. Just make sure that you ask other people. It's a very important part of arranging. Arranging is not a place to show off your own skill. It's a place to interact with other people and make a music with all the other people around you. You're a conductor. You are a leader, but you are not a tyrant. You are someone that will have to coordinate with other people and make music with them, right? And everyone has their own style of playing, so make sure that you know what they're doing.
I wanted to interject a reference. I'm not sure if you guys all watched like Haikyuu, but there is a position there where this guy's like really great. So you know how in like sports there are like different types of like positions, and there's this one of the main characters, basically in his position, his goal was to bring out the best ability of each player of different positions. And I want to say that's what you guys are for. You guys, as arrangers, aren't showing off what you could write or how you can conduct, but you want to make everyone else show off what they can do and like sound amazing. That's it.
Exactly what Kiki said. So you are pretty much the supporter, the main supporter. You are the one that brings out the full potential of the whole orchestra. And to do that, first of all, be confident. Really be confident about your music. Even if you think it's, really bad, shitty, be confident about it, because other people will, usually a lot of people won't know because you're the one that wrote it, right? And just be articulate on what you want, but also be nice, be happy, be smiling. And when you're conducting, don't, back off. Be confident and love your music. Love your own piece. You arranged it. You have to love it, right? If you don't love your piece, then how
Yeah. I haven't listened to my own music since for a couple of months now.
I mean, yeah, it's a big thing. You make your own piece, and you yourself is the worst critics, right? But being critical is good, but make sure that you also equally love what you did, because if you don't, people will know. People will know that what you did was like, this part I don't like. Oh, this part is bad. Oh, this part, I don't like it now. They will notice that. It is very apparent when you are on the conducting podium. So when you're up there, you are an actor, okay? Make sure that you are acting as if you know what you're doing. Even if you don't know what you're doing, act like you do, okay? Because the moment you show weakness, people will know, and that is not a good thing.
I wanted to make another reference to Haikyuu. There is this one girl who was like, I'm very confident at being nervous, or like, I'm very confident at making mistakes. It's like, even if there is like a part that you want to change while you're already conducting, what I want you guys to do is like try to figure out what would sound good instead, and be like, okay, flutes, I don't like when we play that. Let's play it like this instead, and see how that sounds like. And then just like go from there, and then make changes, have them write it in their sheet music, and just like own up to it. Be confident about like a part that you don't like.
Yeah, be confident and also be nice. Like when you're asking for them to change something, say, "Oh, flute." Don't say like, "Oh, I don't like it." Just kind of say like, "Oh, flutes, can we try this? Can we try that? Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah, I like that. So I'll change it just for you. So just wait for me until like next week, and I'll make sure that's there. Okay. So make sure that you are always positive in regards when you're talking to them, because morality is a big thing in orchestra, because you want people to keep on coming, right? So I guess we're talking about conducting now. I mean, I guess as like short conductor, I can always talk about it, but we can talk about it later though. Well, let me just finish this. Oh, brass, whatever. It's not really that important, this one. I kind of want, because I want to listen to other pieces. So I am looking forward to it, okay? So brasses, bombastic sounds. Probably the best one that you can listen to is Kingdom Hearts 2 boss battle theme. Let's see if I can find it though. Kingdom Hearts 2 boss battle. This one has a very powerful sound, but oof. Theme. It's not this one. I'll post some sort of link later if you guys want to, but it has a very good bombastic sound. Oh, stop. But just know bombastic sounds, fanfare, piercing sounds. Brass is best at piercing through orchestra. So make sure that you are putting dynamics, a lot of dynamics for brass. A lot of it. I will repeat this again. Dynamics. Please write dynamics again and again. Trumpets can do lip slurs. The brass can do lip slurs. There's the overtones that Daniel talked about. That's what the lip slurs are. So ask them on that. Do not give them extreme jumps. Do not give them jumps. I repeat, don't give them jumps. They can do it, but it's extremely hard. Okay, so like don't give them like C4. Do not give them that, or because that is extremely hard for the brass to just kind of get it right there, because all the pitches are controlled by their lips right here. So make sure that you know what you're doing. Yeah, dynamic punches, good for melodies and counter melodies. If you listen to Ori and the Blind Force, or like my orchestration, if you happen to listen to it somehow, that'd be nice. Ori and the Blind Force and Nier, Weight of the World, I actually gave them a secondary melody to them, and that's for trumpets specifically, because they are extremely good at filling up the sounds that the main melody is lacking. Next one is Woodwinds. Good at jumping around, has a very mellow tone for flutes and clarinets. Runs are usually easier. Okay, it's not easy, but it is easier for the flutes, clarinets, and oboes, but it's still hard, so be careful with that. Surprisingly hard to blend. Because all the woodwinds has a very distinct sound. Saxophone is different from flute, flute is different from clarinet, clarinet is different from oboe. So when you are blending them, try to keep in mind what specific sound you want. Not just, oh, I want a big sound, oh, boom, everyone play. Kind of pick out what sound specifically you want and how they are playing and how you are adding onto them. Oboe is kind of closer to brass in terms of the piercing quality. Flute is closer to violin, so they're easier to blend. Clarinet is kind of like in between, so they can go both ways, but it also has a very unique overtone quality because it's only the odd harmonics, or even, I forgot. So you know the sounds, so imagine it in your head and think what you want, okay? Personally, I prefer adding clarinets and flutes together. They're the easiest ones to go, and bassoon and oboe together because they are the same kind of double reed family. Yeah. Piano. As a pianist, I have to talk about it. Make it playable, please. Don't give them 4-note chords on one hand. I would max it to 3 if possible. And remember about piano is that they are not 2 instruments. It is 1 instrument, okay? So when you're giving left hand and right hand, don't think of it as, oh yeah, the left can do whatever it wants, the right hand can do whatever it wants. They need to be coherent. So when one hand is moving around, as you notice, my left hand is very stable. So if one hand is moving, the other hand should usually be not moving as much. So if active, non-active. If active, usually non-active. Just to make the life of the other pianist easier, okay? And if you can't write the piano part, just ask other pianists, okay? That they are very helpful, and I'm pretty sure Jason and other Joachim and other pianists right there will be more than happy to help out in that regards. So do that. And again, dynamics. Please write dynamics, and please write a lot of crescendo, decrescendo, write slurs. Don't forget about the ties. Write every single thing you need to do, okay? This is not just for the performer's sake, it is for you. It is for you. Just if you spend maybe like 5 seconds writing that one dynamic, it will save you at least 2 to 3 minutes in the rehearsal time, okay? So make sure, I am begging you, all of you, write dynamics and articulations, okay? So there are like one more thing that I wanted to do, but I will put that later. I want to listen to other pieces. So if anyone's ready.
So I had a question.
Oh yes, of course.
Two questions. One's about the piece that I was going to do, what I was working on for spring orchestra until it got canceled. bless COVID. The other one is the one that I was kind of working on, but then now I'm kind of busy, so I don't think I'll finish it. I don't think I'd finish it for spring ensemble stuff. But it's just something I've been thinking about for potential medley. I really wanted to do a medley again.
Okay, medley. Okay, go on. I'll talk about medley later.
So I'll do this. I'll do the second question, which is about the. This is for Link's Awakening, the Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening remake. So, one thing I was just thinking about. This is from just the staff roll, and I wasn't thinking about doing the entire staff roll, but it gave me the idea. Do you mind if I share my screen so I can play you?
Yes, please.
I won't play. So I don't have. I haven't transferred the tracks. I haven't actually arranged the staff roll. I've just been I've just been thinking about. I don't know, parts from the staff roll that I'm interested in using in the medley. So you'll see what I mean, I think.
Okay. After I listen to it, I'll talk. I mean, I guess medley we can talk about it later. That is one thing that I did really want to talk about.
Host is disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh yeah.
I can play it from my phone.
Let's see if I can give you access.
Actually, the Link's Awakening Link's Awakening soundtrack for the remake, I think, is probably one of my favorites, just because it's like all basically arrangements, like mostly chamber ensemble arrangements of the original soundtrack. I don't know. So I've been trying to like look at it and get ideas for what I could do.
Daniel, can I make all participants allowed to share the screen?
I don't know exactly how to do that, but if you know how to do that, you're free to do so.
Okay. Can you try it now? Okay, Curtin?
Yeah. Okay, there we go.
And make sure the share computer sound is on too.
Oh, right. Okay. More computer sound. Okay.
Sorry, just a moment. Give me like 10 seconds. Sorry, just broke my door. I'll fix it later.
Oh God.
Okay, can you play?
Yeah. Can you hear it?
I can hear it. So what's the question that you wanted to ask?
So I guess the first thing, so you could probably hear the chiptune, or chiptune, I guess the original.
The original soundtrack of this Zelda?
Yeah. So they use it. I mean, they use it more in the staff role, and so I've been trying to think about, I don't know, how I could implement that, and at the same time, how would I don't know, mimic that kind of sound?
The chiptune sound?
Yeah.
The easiest way to do chiptune sound, I mean, we don't have a grand piano. I guess that's a big part. Usually for the chiptune sound, what you can do is, for grand piano specifically, is put a paper or just like a metal ruler on top of the strings and play it to create the buzzing sound. Or in this case, you could probably use bassoon and oboe and very staccato piano to create that short sounds of the melody. But Kritten, about this piece, are you going to use the first 45 seconds of the piece or just the main melody?
So the thing I was interested in was the first 45 seconds, actually.
May I interject for one quick moment? Just to note that typically at our performances, we do not have a grand piano. We have an electric piano. So
I know. That's why I said, that's why I said using the very staccato piano without this on the other things on the paper and the ruler. I said just a regular short piano, oboe and bassoon, and maybe add some hi-hat, closed hi-hat with playing the exactly same rhythm as the main melody to give that buzzing sound. So yeah, use your imaginations. That's your friend. Always think of what quality that specific sound has. As like, if it's chiptune, what do you think of? Sine wave, very buzzing sound, some kind of clean sound, right? Cleanish sound. So if you think of clean, you'll first go to the woodwind because that has the cleanest sound. But the cleanest one is probably the flutes, so maybe you can add the flutes, but it also has like that gritty quality. So what has a gritty quality? The first thing that I think of gritty quality is bassoon and oboe. Oh, yeah, so I can do that, but how to make it short? Oh, maybe articulation, marcato, accent, staccato's right there, but that's not enough. So what can you add? Oh, you have percussion. They're all gritty. They have all the snare sounds. So what can the snares or the hi-hats can do? Hi-hats is the very end of a ringtone. So if you hit it with a hard stick, like a hard wooden stick, and while it's close, it makes a ch sound, right? So that will create that effect of the chiptune sound to it. So that's kind of like the way I think about how to mimic sounds. Go step by step, what each sound can do, okay? And for the first part, be careful for this piece because it is extremely hard. The moment I heard it, personally, I will not recommend doing that one because it's not repetitive either. It's just very forward momentum piece there, and the performers cannot practice the pattern because it doesn't have a pattern because it keeps on moving. So think about if you can simplify it, think of simplifying that one. Maybe make the 16th note into an 8th note, or maybe do kind of like one instrument plays one note and the other instrument plays the secondary note, and then kind of like do the zigzag thing. Or just think about how to do it, okay? Because it's not going to be easy.
Yeah. Okay.
So also for medley, also for when you're choosing pieces, make sure that you are, it goes back to what Daniel said. Is it playable? Or are you thinking about other instruments and not just how you want it to sound? Not just what songs you like. Because even if you like the song, when you perform it and it's not that great, you will not like the song later. So make sure that it is a piece that is playable in terms of your arranging capability and the orchestra playing capability. Okay, I'm not saying the intermission is bad, but just that if it's difficult, and because intermission has a very limited time span of practicing, maybe like 10 to 15 minute max per day, once per week, right? So think about that. But it's a good piece, and it was a good question. So good question. Thank you, Kritten. And any other question you want to ask?
So the other question is about the other piece, other orchestral piece. I was working on.
Okay. Actually, just one moment. Does anyone else have a question? Or
yeah,
a piece that
I would prefer if someone else would be able to get their stuff heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ellie, Keaton, Eleanor, if you have any things you want to show or any questions, I'm more than happy to ask.
A question regarding what you just said about keeping things repetitive. I wrote a song that's do you know the song Lava? Someone to Lava?
Something lava?
Someone to Lava. It's a short film about two volcanoes falling in love. And it's really repetitive. Like it's the same 3 or 4 chords in mostly the same pattern for like 5 minutes, but it's really good. And so but I didn't want to make it super repetitive. I did a choral interpretation of it, so it's just 4 voices, and I think at the very end I added in the ukulele. But I didn't want it to be boring, so I changed it every single time. And I don't know, now that you said that we should keep things not like that, I don't know.
Sorry.
I'm hesitant.
sorry. So when I said that, the repetition is usually meant for the instruments in terms of their playing capabilities. So the more repetitive it is easier. So I'm talking more about the hard pieces, okay? Like technically difficult pieces, they usually have a set patterns that the performer practices, and it doesn't really change. And if they keep on doing it, well, they'll get better quicker than having a different pattern each, after 2 measures every single time. But for your piece, I'm assuming that it's a repetitive but kind of beautiful piece, and you're changing it, which is fine. As long as it's not hard, it should be okay. And can I look at your piece if you don't mind?
Sure. I need to figure out how to share it. Hold on, I need to pull it somewhere I can see it.
And if you go, and Ali, can you go next after Eleanor?
Let's see. So do you want me to play it, or do you just want to look at it? Okay. Can you hear it?
Do you have the share sound on computer on?
I do. We had this problem last time though. The last time I was here.
Can you go to MuseScore? Click on MuseScore and preference. Let's see. Is there audio?
Like that?
Device. Yeah. So that should be it. Oh, it still doesn't work, I guess then.
I'll find out.
Try closing MuseScore and opening back up again. For some reason, MuseScore does this a lot, and then you restart it, and then it's fine.
That's odd.
And make sure that you are fully quitted from MuseScore.
Complicated. Oh my goodness. I think it was this one.
I mean, I don't mind staying late if you guys don't mind, that is. I can hear it now. Good.
Yay!
Thank you.
That's kind of long.
That's actually really good. I like it. So I do like the piece. It's really good, and you made a lot of good changes. That's very good job on your part. I guess so. For the rhythmic writing, that's actually one more thing that you guys should practice, I would say. So right, I'm sorry. How do I make this full screen? Oh, what happened? Full screen. There we go. So measure 81, the same pattern that you've been using, right? Dum ba bum ba 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 bum ba bum ba ba ba. I would really recommend you writing the second quarter note into 2 8 notes, and then you tie it, and yeah, tie those 2 notes personally, because in that way you can see where the beat 3 is. I mean, because it's so repetitive, it doesn't really matter. But for other ranges right now, whenever you're doing a writing for rhythms, please make sure that you can see measure beat 1 and 3. If it's not possible, it's okay. But if it is possible, make it visible, beat 1 and 3. Okay. If it's 8 notes, beat 1 and 3. If it goes into 16th note, beat 1, 2, 3, 4 has to be visible. Because the moment when you cannot see where beat 3 is, it becomes confusing in that regards. But Eleanor, really good job on the arrangement. Can you go back 1 page? There was one part where I think it was either alto or bass. They were singing a B natural, jumping down to an F natural. Where is it? Oh, maybe not here. Maybe, where was it? Maybe go 1 page to the right.
Wait, that's left.
Where did I see that? Ah, there it is. Yeah, right there. Yeah, no, the alto. Here's the alto. The jump from B natural F is pretty hard, so I would recommend giving them a smaller leap, maybe a B to a G to an F later. It might be a little bit heavy on some parts, but it's more for them to have an easier time singing the piece rather than making it sound good in that regard. So sorry about that part. But yeah, think about whenever you give them big leaps like that, not big leaps, but kind of like hard leaps, try to give them how should I say, like a stepping stone, something like you can give them a G at the beat 4 or something, to make it easier for them to sing your target notes right there. So like, for example, it's not going to sound good, like, but just for theoretical purpose, the alto would be like a dotted half note and then a quarter note of G and then going into an F, something like that.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yes, just to make it easier for the singers. A lot of good dynamics. I love what you did. Honestly, yeah, this is a pretty good arrangement because you kept on changing it. There were some doublings, but I think you can fix it later on. Not a lot, though. I mean, honestly, I don't know what to say too much about this because this is pretty good. Oh, yeah, but one thing, give them places to breathe.
Yeah, I was wondering about that as I was listening to it. I haven't listened to it in a while, so I was like, oh wow, that's actually really intense.
Yeah, whenever you have like the kind of repeating patterns, you can either make them do scatter breathing, or if you want to like control where you want breathe or which part's important, delete one of the 8 notes that you're dun 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 ba bum ba ba dum, right there. Like you can like delete you see the triple 8 note you see there, right? The middle note can be deleted and it'll still have the same quality. Bum ba bum bum ba dum ba dum bum ba dum ba dum bum ba.
Yeah, that works.
Or you can just give them bum ba dum bum bum ba dum ba da da dum ba dum, or something like that. Make sure that you just give them a proper place to breathe, and also stay where you were. Can you go back left 1 page? You see alto and tenor there, right? They are. Is it on purpose that you gave them the same note?
I think it was. I think my goal at this point was I tried to make the sounds kind of imitate the song. At this point, it's a really sad part of the song where the second volcano comes out of the ocean, but she's facing the wrong way, so she can't see the first volcano, and he can't sing anymore. So it's really sad. So I just tried to like minimize the number of notes that were here.
Then, in terms of orchestration, less is more. When you want that kind of place, you don't always have to make all this choir singing. So there are parts. One thing that I did notice throughout the whole piece is that all 4 parts are constantly singing, like they are not stopping. Yeah. So if you want to have a arrangement that is constantly moving, think of also taking out some parts, just like literally just deleting it if you want to. I mean, it's in the end, it is up to you on how to do it. But okay, so this part I'm assuming this is the really sad part, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can see that, but it's not just the sad part, like on the happy parts, because when there's like on the first part, like dun 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 dun, you always want to make it so that the music is moving. So when the 4 choirs are always singing, it could get stale. It might not. It depends on how the choir is doing it and how you wrote the dynamics and how the phrasing works. But always keep in mind that don't be scared to delete one line, okay? In terms of what happens. And usually when that happens is either alto tenor, but if you want that kind of like thin sound, but just kind of like this kind of tension that kind of builds up, taking off the bass is actually a really good way to do it, because when the bass comes back in after like 4 or 8 measures later, the impact of bass coming in is really big. So think of all the implications of what each voices are capable of, and when they come in, what kind of effect they will create. Okay.
I didn't think about that before. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's really good. I like it. Yeah, this is a pretty good piece.
Thank you.
Good.
Is it okay, like going back to the repetition thing, is it okay that it changes every time?
Oh, it's fine. It is fine. I mean, is it okay? You'll have to ask the choir, because it is this them singing, and it'll be kind of hard. Oh yeah, actually, the disappear as she, that rhythm right there. Da-dum bum, ba-dum, ba-dum bum bum. Is that it?
Do you want to hear it?
Yeah. So the rhythm is kind of hard to read, right?
Yeah.
In that part, I would recommend you putting 8th note and quarter note and tying it for the pier.
With the 8th note and quarter. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I can also change this one so we can see beat too.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. That one can stay as a quarter note.
Okay. No, it's a beat.
And then tie the pier. There we go. So there you can see where the beat 3 is,
Okay.
and now you know where the beat 4 is clearly.
Okay.
Yeah. So for all the arrangers, repeating it again, rhythm writing is important. I put a workshop on, not a workshop, I put a worksheet on the file somewhere on the intermission. So if you want to practice writing rhythms, please look at that. And okay, but overall, the repetitions, the way you repeated it and how you changed it was really good. A lot of dynamic usage was really good. Try to use more crescendo. And one thing that you can do is that while the soprano is crescendoing, you can make the alto decrescendo to make soprano stand out more. So whenever the main melody is coming up, make sure the other part, that bam bam, the rhythm part, goes down dynamic wise, okay? Because you want that one line to stand out as much as possible, okay? And and you can do that either decrescendoing into it or the sudden dynamic change. They both have a very different quality. If you decrescendo, it's a much more subtle, but when you have a sudden change in dynamic, it'll make the melody pop out more. So depending on what you want, you can do it like that.
Thank you.
Okay. I think that's good. Ali, can we look at yours next?
Yeah. Can I just go right into it, or did you want to hear part of the original?
Oh no, go right into it. Don't worry about it. I'll just listen to your piece, and I think it should be okay. And remember, arranging is arranging. It is not transcribing. It is your own style. Ali, actually,
Yes.
can you zoom out if it's possible?
Oh, yeah. Do you need me to zoom out more?
One more would be nice. I just want to see how you orchestrated, not
Okay.
just the notes. Okay, thank you.
Should I just keep going from there?
Yeah, sounds good.
What was that?
It's not. Can you scroll so that I can see what it's playing? I scroll.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. This is pretty much the end, right? nice, 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 nice. Really good arrangement. I like how you have a very distinct sections. Is this a medley?
No.
It's a whole piece. No.
Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. Nice, nice.
For the last part, I used the lyrics in some parts of a different song, but it's basically the same song, just with lyrics.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like that. That's what arranging is for, isn't it? Ali, could you send me the MuseScore file if it's possible, so that I can just kind of look at it?
Sure. Just make sure. I'll just put it in the chat.
Okay.
If I can find Zoom. No, that's not it.
The whole balance was really good. The one thing that I tell the people, if it sounds good on MuseScore, it will probably sound good in Intermission Orchestra. The piece was really good. The balance was really okay. I guess I feel like you could add more to this personally. Like you can have more fun with the orchestrations, because the first part was very string. The second part was very woodwind and brass oriented, and the third part's more like vocal, right?
Yeah.
MuseScore 2 for the first time. I want to. Yeah, why not? Break my computer, please. Okay.
I haven't updated it in over a year because I'm afraid of what it'll do.
Oh no, I know. Honestly, I get it. Let's see. I like how you put the crescendos mostly. A lot of crescendos. There's a odd crescendo on the violin on the first page. I don't know. There's an crescendo empty space, but doesn't really matter too much.
Oh, I think I tried to copy something and it. Yeah,
okay.
Copied it to the wrong place.
Oh man, I was trying to say something. Where was it? Can I play this? I guess one thing that Ali, I can tell you right now, just right off the bat, is a really good arrangement. And you took the less is more to the heart, but I think you could actually add more here.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And let's see, oh God, why is there a question mark here? Let me share my screen.
Oh, so I didn't put all of the rehearsal markings. I just knew I wanted one there, but I don't know which one it's going to be yet.
Okay. Can I share my screen? Is it okay?
Yeah. Do I have to stop share?
I can do it. There we go. Is this mine? Yes, it is mine. Let's see. There we go. So I don't think it's this part particularly that I wanted the more sound, but I'm just going to just give you an example, right? So you see this is going up here, right? Crescendo wise, it's just going up very high. And there is this one note that is being held as a sustain, like a suspension or some sort of kind of like that suspended sound that want to resolve to this question mark rehearsal mark that you put there. So in that part, what I usually do is add kind of like brassy instruments or some other sounds to make it sound fuller, so that the impact of coming into this section is much more apparent. But I don't know if it's this one. Let me just play. Yeah, I see right here. But can you guys hear that?
No.
Oh boy, let me write preference. Preference. Where'd you go? IO. Device. Apply. Okay. Bye. And one more time. Let's see if you guys can hear it now. Your instrumentation was impeccable though. Even though you transcribed it, the way that it sounds is very natural. The way you use the flutes, the clarinets right there, right here, you put some harmonies, kind of harmonization there, really good. The chord usage was really nice. The dotted 8 note, giving them rest right here. Good job. Right here, let's see if you guys can hear it now. Can you guys hear?
Yeah.
Okay. So that part, as it was going up, it kind of felt flat on this measure, right? It was ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. So in that part, you can have more fun with it, add more running notes. So maybe rather than starting from viola, maybe you can start from cello, going upward, 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 and then up to this part, maybe like a, maybe I'll give personally, maybe I'll probably give a French horn, or not French horn, that's gonna be hard. Probably like clarinets here, clarinet and oboe mixture. And on this part, I'll probably add a brass to make it really sound full. And then the distinct dynamic difference that it will give, the impact that it will have arriving onto this measure will be a lot more big when you have a certain build up to it. Let's see. Please start from right here. And from the trombone, it's only trombone. Maybe you can even give French horn that line, kind of like, I don't know, what is it, a da 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 da? Is that right? Yeah. You can even put the A, like put a half note there, and the eighth note of A G, A G F sharp, to create a bigger sound impact of reaching that place. That's like that's an idea of what you can do. Here, I forgot. I think this was a contrabass I was playing, or was it cello? I'll just play it. Question for the contrabass right here, right? And the cello, is it kind of like bum? Is it kind of like the accented one, or is it just very smooth? Bum bum bum, or is it bum 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 bum? Is it very articulate?
At that part it's not as smooth, but later it's smoother.
Okay, then I would recommend putting an accent on contrabass to make it a little bit more accentuated, to create to make the sound a little bit more, to make it pop out a little bit more. Let's see. This part, I'll just ask. Yeah, good. Oh, good. I think you gave a trumpet the arpeggio. That scared me a little bit. Good job, you didn't. French horn, good line. I really like how you kind of added little by little more and more to your orchestration. Really makes it pop out. And let's see. That's kind of in the way. Solo, good. Pop, pop. What is this part again? How big is the tempo difference here? It starts from 65 to 110. Oh God.
65 in dotted quarter notes to 110 in quarter notes.
I wouldn't even know how to even transition into that actually. Because what I'm scared of what's happening is that it becomes a quarter note. It becomes a 1, 2, 3, 4 pattern, right? From the 1 to what I'm scared of happening is the violin like making a mistake over and over again.
Oh, yeah.
Man, what would I do? I mean, like, just to give them like a kind of like a fail safe, you can just give them like some sort of rhythm of dum ba 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 ba. If you just give them like a repeated 8 notes somewhere here, so that they can get ready for the 8 note pattern of what? No, that's not going to help. Actually, sorry, that is not going to help. All I can say is
not give them that first measure of it, because then everyone else just has whole notes or something.
Yeah, but it does kind of that's like the characteristic of that moment. So if you take it away, it's just not fun. Okay, that part I don't think I can help a lot with it. Make sure that you practice a lot with so this is conducting and rehearsal practice thing. Don't practice the whole piece. Practice a certain parts. So like when I was like practicing Nier and Ori, remember like I only practiced the transitions a lot.
Yeah.
This is the reason, because this kind of the transition is going to be really hard. So Ali, when you're practicing this part, specifically practice starting from here, starting from here, not even from the 3, just kind of like in the middle somewhere. And then just practice that one part maybe 5 times. Even if it gets boring, even if people gets annoyed, make sure you do it, because it is for the concert. So you practice that part, and then before you do that, one thing that you can do is, this is 65, right? So if you are doing an accelerando to 110. So what I would do is put a accelerando right here, and then you do a count. You do a count of the 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just for practice sake. And then later you don't have to do that, because they'll probably know by then. So I would prefer you put accelerando, because the tempo did get faster there, just so that they can get ready for that. Or the violins too. The violin can get ready for what's happening.
Yeah.
There's only one instrument. This is the hard part. What do you sacrifice, right here, let's see. Here you can also still have fun. The moment that the notes change here, you can add like a bass or cello to make the sound thicker.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the whole part right here is super minimal, right?
Yeah.
But all the other people are bored. They just want to play something. So maybe like on the B flat, was it B flat, or maybe even like in from here, I think, I forgot. You can slowly, like really slowly add more stuff, preferably contrabass, because that is the most frequency wise, it kind of blankets the whole thing. And then you can go up, kind of like you can build up from there if you want, if you want the impact and the build up. Okay, if you don't want it, you can actually go the opposite way. You can have a lot of stuff right here, and then kind of die out to give the choir the much needed presence. So that's on you. So just think of what you can do to make the song a little bit more orchestral, and not just copying and transcribing that part. But good job. A lot of good dynamic. Make sure that you put dynamics for the choir. Choir is the most, like, they are the most important instruments to put dynamics. They live and die from dynamics. Okay. So make sure you give them a lot of dynamics, a lot of movements, and not just like one time. Just like, I would recommend that you actually give them dynamics maybe once every 4 measures or even more, if you want that movement that you were thinking of. Okay, good. Parallel fifths, but that's fine. This is not music theory. It still sounds good. Okay, that's a lot. Sorry.
Thank you.
I hope that was slightly helpful.
Yeah.
Caitlin, are you still there? I'm sorry for taking such a long time.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah. Can I look at your piece if it's okay? And is there anyone else that wants me to look at their piece?
Yeah, because we can just keep on going along. It'll be a long YouTube video, and I may have to. Actually, I should be fine, because I'm hosting. Because if I leave, I end the call.
Oh, sorry, Daniel. I'm sorry.
Oh no, don't worry about it. I'm just trying to figure out what's a good way to not let my computer overheat. So, but yeah, just keep going on, and I'll just chill in the background, interject whenever I remember to.
I mean, you can make me a host, and then I can hold on to the hosting.
Oh yeah.
My computer's fine.
I don't know if it'll stop the recording.
Oh.
But I mean, it would be a 2+ hour video, so.
Sorry, I didn't mean to make it this long.
No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Here, I'll pass the torch over to you, and whatever happens, happens. So.
Okay.
Let's see, where are you? There you are. More. Make host. Change host to him. All right, cool. All right, well, I'll leave you guys to do this. Thank you, Philip, for being awesome and being here. And stick around with him if you wanna keep on learning. So, but I'm gonna go get some food.
Please do. I mean, if you guys want to go, it's fine. If you guys want to stay and I don't know, talk with me a little bit more. This dude's lonely here, so.
Yeah, hang out with Philip, please. He's awesome.
Yeah. So, Caitlin, did you want to share your screen, maybe?